What's good, y'all? It's your girl, D. Marie. Thank you so much for chiming in to yet another episode of It's Just D. Marie. This is your host, none other than D. Marie. I'm excited about today's episode, you guys. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Most of the time I get on here and I press record and I'm talking to myself. And today is one of those days. I just listened to an Audible book called The War of Art. I'm sure that some of you guys have already checked it out because that is the vibe that we're dealing with around here. But I hadn't, and a good friend recommended it to me, and it's all about overcoming the internal resistance to living out your dreams and doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing. Today, we're going to be talking about failure. Now, listen, before you click off and skip to the next thing, I want to say this. If you haven't failed, you have no idea what you're capable of. Boom. If you need this whole podcast boiled down into one succinct bar, that's what it is. If you haven't failed, you have no idea what you are capable of. And I'm going to go on and expound upon that and explain to you why I feel that way. But before that, I need to express this, how important failure is. Failure is so important that some of the greatest minds of our time have quoted on it. I'm talking about J.K. Rowling. I'm talking about Paulo Coelho. I'm talking about Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Michelle Obama, Confucius. Shall we run down some of the quotes? Michael Jordan said, "I can accept failure." Michael Jordan, the dude who played through the flu game, dropped 52, I think it was, on the Knicks. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments. Said, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying." Michelle Obama said, "Failure is part of the process. You just learn to pick yourself back up." Ariana Huffington said, "We need to accept that we won't always make the right decisions, that we'll screw up royally sometimes. Understanding that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success." And this is what I want to talk to you guys about today. There's another one in here that I thought was real good. Let me see. Oprah said, "Failure is another stepping stone to greatness." But the one I want to drive home, the one I want to rock out with, is J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling said, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you have failed by default." Damn! She said you failed by default, bro. You ain't even in the ring, bro. Dang! So why are we talking about failure? This past semester was a heavy one, y'all. So if you don't know, I'm finishing up undergrad at Purdue. I am 42, finishing up undergrad. Whew. Saying less to say about, helping out my family by helping to care for my father and moving back into my own home, getting back to work full time, getting ready to have a baby with my partner, all of the things, all of the life is happening right now. And I got to a point in this past semester where I was just so overwhelmed with everything that I had going on that I had decided I just kind of had to let school fall by the wayside a little bit. Now, let me go into a little bit more depth with this. This was a complete paradigm shift. So for the first year and a half of school, I had been doing school full time and not working. And then I just realized that, I'm not a child, right? If I need to go to school part-time, I need to go to school part-time, but I got to get back in the workforce and I have to start living my own life again. So I transitioned away from my parents' house and moved back into my own home. And that inherently meant that I was going to have to start paying some bills around here, which meant I had to go back to work. So I went from going to school full-time and not working at all to going to school full-time and working part-time. And now in the summer, I'm taking online part-time classes and working full-time. So life has changed for me drastically just in the past few weeks. And this semester was so overwhelming. There was so much going on in my life that I just decided, you know what, like school cannot be my number one priority anymore. I have to let it fall a little bit. Now, when I first started school, my GPA was really important to me. I had a 4.0 for a very long time. And when I got an A minus and dropped down to a 3.7, I think it was 3.7 or 3.97, I was pissed. It was a 3.7. I was mad that I was livid. First of all, because it was petty. It was petty. He could have gave me an A. But, and then also here, sidebar, Purdue. This makes no sense. And I don't know if this is an all college thing or if this is a college thing, right? But an A plus gets a 4.0. An A gets a 4.0. An A minus gets a 3.7. How, Sway? Make it make sense. If an A minus is a 3.7 and an A is a 4.0, shouldn't an A plus be a 4.3? Come on, somebody connected with that. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today, so I'm going to move on, even though that pissed me off highly. So my GPA was very important to me when I started school. So to get to the point this semester where I knew I was just going to have to let grades slip and it was just going to be what it was going to be was really important for me, actually, because it meant that I had to start prioritizing life over school again, which I was really afraid to do because I had dropped out 4 times before this. Purdue is my 5th college. And I was so afraid of dropping out again that I didn't want to drop any classes, that I wanted to keep school top of mind and make it the most important thing in my life. And it just got to a point where that wasn't sustainable anymore. And I had to knowingly and intentionally start backing off of the attention that I was putting into my assignments. This was very difficult for me to do from a mental standpoint. I am in some ways very much an underachiever, but in many ways also an overachiever. So it's very important to me that I put my best foot forward in school because I understand that professors really are like a hack. Like they can really put you into some spaces that you wouldn't be normally. And I know that because I used to teach, and I've had people call me and say, hey, I see such and so used to go to Tricoci. Would you recommend him? And I'd be like, hell no. Or I see such and so used to go to Tricoci. How were they as a student? I'm like, amazing, hire them stat. As a matter of fact, I had one of my students working with me, well, former students working with me at the shop that I'm at because I know what her work ethic is. I was like, yes, we want her. That's the one. And so I understand the power of a teacher. So I always wanted to put my best foot forward in my classes. And to get to a point where I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that because life had to take priority was tough for me to wrap my head around. But I did it. And I want to say this. What I learned from choosing to let myself fail in a way, right, in an increment. It wasn't an absolute complete failure. I didn't just abandon all my classes, but I didn't put forth the effort that I felt best about. And you know what happened? I still got A's. I still got A's, y'all. When I tell you I took one assignment, broke it up into 3 assignments, and then turned it in and still got an A, I said, time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. I put in 1/3 of the effort that I was going to put in this assignment, and I still got an A at Purdue. I wasn't in one of these community colleges. I'm at Purdue, and I put in 1/3 of the effort, and I still got an A, and that changed something for me. And I was like, what the fuck have I been working so hard for? Why have I been overworking? I'm out here killing myself, trying to carry an elephant on my back, and I did not need to. I could have cut it up into chunks and carried it, and I still would have got an A. Are you kidding me? So when I saw that, y'all, the game changed. I ain't gonna lie. I am not gonna lie about it. The game changed for you, girl. And I did not do as good this semester as I had in others. I walked away with 2 B pluses and 3 A's. But I felt just fine about that. Because what happened was I learned some balance, right? And now you're like, what does this have to do with failure? A B plus is not failure. No. No, it's not. It's still a success, especially with everything that I went through. That's a dub, bro, and I'm taking it for sure. It's an important story, and it's relevant because it was hard for me to not put my best foot forward. And to me, it felt like failure to not put my best foot forward. And what we need to understand is that there are marginal and gradual versions of success and or failure. And one of my favorite quotes is that neither success nor failure is ever final. It's ever final, right? Me not finishing college before now was not a failure because it wasn't final. I'm still alive. I still had a chance to finish. I'm going to finish. That's success. And it's not failure in the meanwhile. It's just success delayed. It's success deferred. But it's not a failure. And so many of us are afraid to act because we're afraid to fail, that we do end up failing over time. But if you had just taken the action, you could take it incrementally, just like I have. I did some semesters here. I got some credits here. I got some credits there. I did some semesters there. And now they're all going to accumulate in the one grand baccalaureate degree, if that's how you say that. I think it is. It felt right to me coming off of the tongue. So I hope y'all with that. So I think that it's important to connect with the fact that if you never swing for the fences, right? If you never swing, then you don't know if you can succeed or fail. So it's important to just take the swings. And that's one of the things that I learned in the war of art, right? It's important to just take the swings because you don't know how massively you could succeed. And sometimes that really scares us, but we have to give it a shot. And we can't be so afraid of failing that we never try, because that is a failure. That's an actual failure. Right, so we're trying to avoid failing by not participating, but not participating is the only actual failure. Y'all ever seen a video of a dude at 30 feet from the finish line of a marathon, and their muscles are shutting down and they're so weak they can barely stand and they have to end up crawling to the finish line? That is success, my friends. That is not a failure. But only by ever maxing out, by failing, by having your body, that's actually called muscle failure. Only by having your body absolutely shut down on you are you able to find out what you're capable of. Those people who ran to the finish line, they could have kept running. They might have been in extreme pain. They might have been. Right? They might have been throwing up. They might have peed on themselves. They might be delirious, but they could actually keep going. They haven't failed. That guy crawling to the finish line knows what his body is capable of. If you haven't run to the finish line and crossed it with muscle failure, you don't know actually how much you're capable of. You don't actually know how much further you could have run. That dude does. That dude knows exactly how much he can run, exactly how much he did run, and now he's done. He's about to die at the finish line. That's how you know what you're capable of. And that's why I open this by saying, unless you've ever failed, you have no idea what you're capable of. Failure not only points to you what you could do better, how you can grow, what opportunities you have, right, for growth, but it also points to how strong you are and where your boundaries are. And some of us have never stretched ourselves enough to find out where we fail because we're afraid to fail. But that also means that you never know how strong you are, how much you're capable of. If you never fail, you have no idea how big you can succeed. I'm gonna run that one back. If you never fail, you have no idea how big you can succeed. You can't possibly. You have no idea where the boundary is, where the limit is, how much you can bench press. If you've never had muscle failure, if you don't have a spotter in the gym, you've never gone as hard as you could. If there's not a safety net to stop you from dropping that weight on yourself, you've never bench pressed your maximum. The only way you know what your max is in the gym is if you can't get it up. That's the only way you ever know how far you can really go, is if you exhaust yourself. But so many of us are afraid of looking bad that we're not willing to exhaust ourselves. But that's where the proof is. That's the bar. That's where you clip. So we got to stop being afraid of failure and understand and see it as our new high. That's our new personal best record. Your failure. Your failure is your new personal best. And we have to change the narrative around failure away from something to be avoided and something to run towards. How far do I run before I fail? How fast do I run before I fail? Good to know. Next time I'll take it slower. Next time I'll eat more carbs. Next time I'll do a little more prep. Next time I'll stretch a little bit more. Next time I won't run in 90 degrees. I'll run in 70 degrees. That's how you get to your new personal best. By finding out where you meet failure and then how to adapt and go around. And I promise y'all I'm preaching to myself today. This is why you want to fail. This is why you want to run towards failure. You want to get to failure as quickly as you can so you can learn the lessons and get back to the start line. Does this make sense? Y'all feeling this? Is somebody feeling inspired out there? Listen, y'all already know one of my favorite things to do. This is actually kind of like my favorite part of the show. Maybe I'm supposed to be a radio DJ in real life, because I'm going to drop a song off of my affirmation playlist, The Right Foot. You can find it on Spotify, and I drop it in the links below the show all of the time. This one is by Geminelli, Casket D, and Charlotte Douglas, along with Dom Banton. You're probably never going to hear this anywhere besides this show and on my playlist, The Right Foot. This one is called My Success is Inevitable, because this is true and it so relates to the topic that we've been talking about today, failure. If you see failure as a goal, as your personal best, as something that you want to get to, find out what it is so that you can adapt and go back at it and beat your new personal best, fail higher. If you can look at failure like that, your success is absolutely inevitable. So let's stretch ourselves and find out how big and crazy and messy and sloppy we can fail so that we can get back up and do it again, because that's how you get to the end, y'all. That's how you actually win. That's how you succeed. And that's why all of these great minds have said all of these very important things. Ellen DeGeneres, when you take risks, you learn that there will be times when you succeed and there will be times that you fail. And both are equally important. This is My Success is Inevitable.
My success is inevitable. My success is inevitable. Inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable. I will win. My inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable.
It's a battle within. For success, no, I have to ascend. Recharge, then I tap in again. Hit the finish line, happy to win. I said I know it's a battle within. For success, no, I have to ascend. Recharge, then I tap in again. Hit the finish line, happy to win.
I will win. My success is inevitable. I will win. My success is inevitable. Inevitable. My success is inevitable. My success is inevitable. My success is inevitable. My success is inevitable.
I want to thank you so much for chiming back into It's Just D. Marie. If anything I talked about today touched you in a particular type of way, I would love to hear about some of your failures in the comments. How can we switch the narrative on failure to be something that we run from to something that we run towards? That we start to understand that failure is a redirection, right, towards how we can succeed. I'd love to hear about some of your grand, terrible, flame out failures in the comments below and how they showed you how to succeed. If you got a story like that, please drop it for me. I would love to feature it on a future episode of It's Just D. Marie. And you guys know how I got to close it out. You can find me on all the socials at Just D. Marie. If you want to join the Positivity Push, feel free to jump into it, y'all. 773-923-1980 is where you can sign up for that. It's also in the show notes below. What else we got? Positivity Push, the Right Foot playlist on Spotify. Check it out. If you like the tunes that I've been playing for you guys, I also add a link in the comments below so you can just go down there and find that as well. If you want to put something in the tip jar, I got a little page on Buy Me a Coffee. You can absolutely hit that. The link is also in the show notes. Drop below what really connected for you. I'd love to hear about it. I want to know what this is doing for you guys and how you're feeling about the topics that I'm bringing to you, the jams that I'm dropping for you, all of it. I want to hear about it. This is not just me on the mic. This is a community we building. Like, let's grow, learn, love, all of the good things together. Let's get into it, shall we? You know that I pray that you have love and light, health and wealth, and most importantly, strength where you need it the most. I love each and every single one of y'all. Don't forget to follow the show and send it out to your friends that you think could use some good nuggets every once in a while. I love y'all.